So hi, my name is Alain Cardon. I'm a master certified coach validated by the International Coach Federation a number of years ago. And we're here in Romania having discussions on coaching. And this is...
I'm Paul Bada. I'm CEO of Vatsi, which is the biggest Nissan dealership in Romania. And I've been training for coaching skills with Alain for some time. And one of the issues I've been experiencing for some time has been resistance to change, both with clients and with employees. My wife I think has some change issues, so
Okay, I won't get into your wife right now, but it is an interesting, not even in coaching, but I would say in organizations, I hear about resistance to change and resistance to change. Now, I like to look at it in a coaching way or even in a physical way. There's the first law of thermodynamics that I like to quote, which is if you exert any force in any direction, you will automatically create the equivalent energy in the opposite direction, and that energy creates heat. That's what we call a resistance, for instance, in a heating system and so on. So creating force in a direction will create resistance. Now, if you're a coach and you see resistance, that means you're pushing. Okay? So for me, that's a very good indicator in any relationship. If somebody answers something you say by responding with yes, but, then it means you're pushing. So the problem is not resistance to change in a way in the other party. The problem is the relationship that's happening between you, with one person pushing and the other one saying no. You obviously can't solve the other person, but what can you do so as not to create resistance? Now that should be a question in my mind that should be asked in organizations when you talk about resistance to change. Now, put in a larger context in organizations, I've seen organizations where the work is quite fine and there's a good collaboration between, I would say, the management and the personnel in general. And then the management at some point needs to make a very important decision, and they make the decision, and then there's resistance from the personnel. Now, is it really resistance to change is my question. What I feel is that actually the personnel is resisting to the form. In other words, before this change or this decision made by the leadership, they were in a collaborative mode. They had a sort of social contract. And suddenly there's an emergency and the leadership makes a decision without consulting that will affect the lives of the people. So they're resisting the change of relationship. In other words, are we collaborating together? Are we part of a social contract where we decide this kind of thing together? Or in which case, when you're talking about empowerment and all this, it's real? Or are you actually imposing something on me, whatever it is, and I'm resisting to this change of relationship, not necessarily to the change you're suggesting? Okay, so I've seen this in a company that had to move location, and it was a major strategic move. They had to move, but they didn't work with the personnel around this move. It's like, we have to move, and down you move. And suddenly the personnel that was really committed felt like they were pawns in a decision where they had nothing to say. And so they get mad. They say, what? Don't we have a say in this? Now, if the company, came to the personnel and said, we have a big issue, which is for strategic issues, for strategic reasons, the company has to move, and we'd like you all to work on this, how to make this move possible, how to make it the best for you. And the people who don't want to move will have to find solutions for them. And how can we work this together? It's going to be difficult for everybody, but we're all partners in this. How can we do it the best way for the future of the company? Now this is acceptable, and you'll see that there's no resistance to moving the company. There's resistance to being imposed a solution. And now you're upon, and later I'll tell you, you need to be empowered. So I don't believe in resistance to change. I believe in resistance to, well, at least it's not a content change, but it's a change in the relationship that's happening. And that is more subtle. It's the form that has changed. The form of our partnership or social contract. It's not the issue. People are actually quite adaptable. They're ready to do a lot of things if you treat them like partners. And I think in coaching too. In other words, if you, as a coach, you're partnering with somebody, and then suddenly you start pushing something, they'll say yes, but they think, are you going to lead my life, or are we, having a conversation on what's possible? So it's quite subtle.
You're right. Yeah. Come to think of it, I every time I've experienced resistance in a coaching situation, it was because I quit.
Yeah, you had an intention, and the other person didn't want this. They were saying, this is a coaching relationship. We're having a conversation. And they're resisting to the change of relationship. Yes. They're okay with any idea, but it's all good.
Thank you.
Welcome.